So I basically grew up in the Big Cypress Reservation. That area is a sawgrass country, cattail, cypress trees, willow trees, lots of animals. You got panthers, bears, all kind of birds. So it was kind of fun to live over there. And that was my favorite place, Big Cypress Indian Reservation. We would have Indian villages in different locations. And we'd go hunting for gophers, turtles, fish, deer, bear. So I've seen a lot of changes take place in the Everglades. That's the headwaters of Kissimmee River. And that river meanders all over the place. I mean, it bends and turns like a snake all over the place. Well, at that time, I don't know why it stuck in my head, but that teacher was saying, well, they're going to straighten out, the Corps of Engineers are going to straighten out the Kissimmee River. They're going to help God where the water will flow down away from Orlando area into Okeechobee Lake. I don't know what I was thinking at that time, but now I think about it. How in the heck can you help God straighten out the earth? Most every time they say we're going to help God out, they screw up the earth. Now Okeechobee Lake, it's got nothing but pollutants in it, algae growing on it because of all type of nitrates or whatever. And so now you look at it, I guess they were helping God up or screwing up the earth or something. I remember that during that time. The other thing that I remember at that time, where it used to be nothing but sawgrass country, one day I come back from Vietnam, that was back in 1968, and the sawgrass country that was there, I didn't think they were going to build it in. But people have a way of figuring out how to drain the land. They'll level off all the sawgrass and willow trees and whatever trees were there. They clear cut it all the way through. Put houses in it. They dug up canals so the houses can be built on it. Almost everywhere you go, where there was hardly anything there, new developments. In those buildings they're going to live in, it's going to be called condominiums. And it looked like a beehive back in those days. The sorry thing is, there's people that are living there, chased out the bear and took over the land that the bear and the deer used to be. And now the human beings start complaining that the animals are intruding on their property. I have never seen a bunch of people so ignorant. He's the one that went over there and displaced the animal. The animal was already there, took away his land, and then they complain.
Along with speaking with James Billig, we also had the opportunity to speak with the author of The Indian River Lagoon and Environmental History, Nathaniel Osborne, who not only knows the current state of many of Florida's ecosystems, but as well as what the future holds for all of us who share this amazing state.
The most frustrating thing about the threats to Florida's environment is that this is a completely self-inflicted wound. Like, we did this to ourselves. And at the end of the day, what that means is that we can undo it, perhaps, to some degree. As far as day-to-day things that we can do to protect it, when you think about our rivers, I strongly suggest that you completely skip fertilizer. We don't need it. The phosphorus and the copper and all of the other fertilizers and nutrients in our lawn fertilizer are like food for the cyanobacteria blooms that we see in the summertime. Cyanobacteria, the more research that's done on it, the increasingly scary it looks. It's now increasingly associated with some pretty terrible things for humans and animals, much less fish and wildlife that live within it. So our completely avoidable state of Florida, most of it gets almost 60 inches of rain a year. South Florida is an island of fresh water. There's no fresh water that goes from North and Central Florida to South water. So we only have rainwater replenishing our aquifer. We get a lot of rainwater. We don't need fertilizer on our lawns. When it comes to taking care of Florida's natural environment, I think that one of the best things that young people can do is get out and touch it. Touch the water, touch the river, touch the mangroves, get out into Florida's grasslands. It's not reasonable to expect young people or anybody to care about Florida's environment if they never experienced it themselves. Why would they miss something that they never even knew was there in the first place? So I think that step one for getting all people, especially young people, to care about our rivers, about all of Florida's territory, our uplands, our slash pines, our xeric scrub, is to get out and experience it. Go for a hike, go for a swim, go explore, get on your boat. Only then is it reasonable to expect people to actually care. Once it's lost, if you never experienced it in the first place, no great shakes. That means you're getting involved in talking to elected officials. That means building relationships with people and the power brokers and the business community. And this is a long, slow process. I really applaud the efforts of people who have been fighting this fight for a long time. Think about groups like the River Kids. Think about the Rivers Coalition. Think about Florida Oceanographic Society. Think about all of these organizations that are doing this tremendous work of building relationships, getting the message out, educating our elected officials who are often surprisingly uneducated about the value that Florida's environment has.